What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to show you the bump sweep into the Americana. I feel like these are kind of basic movements that everyone pretty much learns at white belt. I think they're very fundamental movements that you can easily pair together. So let's get started. So first I'm going to show what the sweep and the submission look like, and then I will break each down separately for you. So we are starting here with Todd inside of my closed guard. He's got a good base with his legs, he's got a good posture, and he's got good hand placement. Three things that I talk a lot about because they're really important. So the first thing that I have to do is start to break down his posture and bring his hands to the floor. So to do that, I'm going to bring my hips up and swim my hands underneath his arms. Bridge my hips up, swim under, bring my hands to his wrists, and trap him to the floor. At the same time, I kind of bring my knees in towards my chest just to break down his posture a little bit more. I'm keeping tension with my legs. So again, I have to bring his hands down to the floor. So I swim underneath, bridge my hips up, trap his hands to the floor. I don't just want to let go because then he's just going to bring his hands right back to my belly, right? Underneath, bridge, bring my knees in slightly, and trap his hands to the floor. Now, we're a little close. I have to create a little bit of space in order to come up and do the sweep. If I were to do it here, maybe it's possible I can pull it off, but probably not because he's just gonna pressure right back into me. I just have to create a little bit of space first. So I'm going to do that by opening my feet, bringing my feet to the floor, and doing a little bit kind of a hip escape backwards, just to create that tiny bit of space. Now I have the space to come up onto my elbow, still keeping his wrist trapped, and I'm going to grab behind his elbow. Now from here, I don't want to just finish the sweep while I'm on my elbow. I don't have enough leverage. So I have to come off my elbow and onto the palm of my hand, okay? Now from here, I'm going to bridge my hips, use my feet pushing into the floor to bring my hips up. At the same time, I'm going to pull this arm that I have trapped in towards me. And I sweep him right over, and I land right into mount. So again, Todd is inside of my closed guard. Like I said before, he's got a good base with his legs, he's got a good posture, and he's got good hand placement. So the first thing I have to do is start to break down his posture and bring his hands to the floor. So I'm going to do that by swimming my hands underneath, bridging my hips up. My hands go to his wrists and I trap his hands to the floor. Now, there's not enough space between me and Todd because if I were to come up here, grab his elbow, I'm a little stuck. I don't have any space to come up, and he's also pushing right back into me. I'm not going to be able to finish the sweep. So I have to create a little bit of space first. When I have his wrist trapped, I open my feet, bring them to the floor, and I scoot myself back just a little bit, just enough to come up and over, and I grab the back of his elbow. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to finish the sweep when I'm on just my elbow here because I don't have enough power to bring myself up. So I have to come onto my hand first. So I trap the elbow, come onto my hand, I get a good posture, my back is nice and strong. I pull his arm in towards me at the same time that I bridge my hips up, and I come right over into a good mount position. Okay, so I just did the bump sweep and I've landed into mount. The first thing that Todd is probably going to do is he's probably going to protect his neck, right? There's all types of gi chokes from here, so he's going to be protecting his neck. I'm going to capitalize on this, not do a gi choke, we're going to do the Americana. So the hand that's on top, I'm going to bring my cross hand to his wrist, near side hand comes to his elbow, and I want to push that hand to the floor and make his arm into a 90-degree angle. But I'm not going to just use my arms, that's not gonna work. He's gonna give me some resistance, right? If someone's gonna be fighting a submission, they're gonna give you some resistance. They're not just gonna let you do it. So I'm gonna use the help of the rest of my body to push his arm to the floor. So I'm not extending here and staying postured up. I'm bringing my body down and using my chest to push his arm to the floor. So again, Todd's protecting his neck. I'm gonna start attacking the top hand. So I bring my cross-side hand to his wrist, near side hand comes to his elbow. I use the help of my whole upper body to push his arm to the floor, and now his arm is forming a 90-degree angle. I don't want his arm extended out here. That's a different submission altogether. That's an arm bar there. I don't want his arm or his hand too close to his head. I want a good L shape, a good 90-degree angle. Cross-side hand is still on his wrist. Near side hand is still on his elbow. The hand that's on his wrist, that elbow is pushing into the side of his neck. I want to make him uncomfortable here, okay? Now, I bring my chest down. I bring my head down. The hand that's on his elbow, I'm going to bring to the floor, and I'm gonna crawl my hand up underneath and grab my own wrist. What's really important when we grab our wrist is we're using a monkey grip, and that's when our thumbs are attached to our pointers. So I don't wanna use my thumbs, I wanna keep them attached to my pointers and use a grip that way. So we're here, I have his wrist trapped, my elbow is digging into the side of his face. My hand that's on his elbow comes underneath. I crawl my hand up and I grab my own wrist using my monkey grip, no thumbs. My chest is down, my head is down, and I'm going to paint the floor. So I'm gonna pull his arm down. At the same time, my forearm is pulling his elbow up. Head down, chest down, pull his arm down, lift his elbow, and I get the tap. So I just did the bump sweep, I'm now in mount, and Todd is automatically probably going to start protecting his neck. So I'm going to attack the top arm. My cross hand comes to his wrist, my near side hand comes to his elbow, and I'm going to use all of my upper body to push his arm to the floor. Me just using my arms alone probably isn't going to do it because he's going to give me some resistance. So I'm going to use my upper body to push his arm to the floor. And the arm that has his wrist trapped, that elbow is pushing into the side of his head. I want to make him uncomfortable here, okay? So here, his arm is at a good 90-degree angle. Again, I'm not trying to extend his arm, and I don't want his hand too close to his head because I'm not going to get the submission from there. His arm has got to be in an L shape. His wrist is trapped, elbow's trapped. I bring my chest down, my head is down. The hand that's on his elbow is going to come underneath, crawl underneath, and I'm going to grab my own wrist. Now from here, I keep everything nice and tight. I keep my head down. I'm going to paint the floor by bringing his arm down, and then with my forearm, pushing his elbow up. And I get the tap. It's a very basic submission, I feel like. Everyone learns this when they start jiu-jitsu, but if you get a really good Americana on someone, they're gonna tap because it's pretty painful, even though it's a pretty basic submission, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So one more time all together, Todd is starting inside of my close guard. I have to bring his hands to the floor. So to do that, I'm going to swim my hands underneath at the same time, bridging my hips up, trapping his hands. I bring my hands to his wrists and I hold them there so that he doesn't bring his hands back to my belly. I have to create a little bit of space. I'm a little too close to Todd. If I were to come up and do the sweep, I'm just too close to him. I don't have enough leverage to come up, and he's going to push right back into me and put my back to the floor. So I have to open my feet, bring them to the floor, create a little bit of space, so I scoot myself back just a little bit. I come up onto my elbow, My hand comes over his shoulder and I grab his elbow. Now from here, I have to come up onto my hand to give myself a little bit more leverage to be able to come up over and do the sweep. So I come up onto my hand, I get a good posture, my back is straight. I push my feet into the floor, bridge my hips, pull his arm in towards me, and I get my sweep. Now from here, I establish a good mount position. The first thing he's gonna wanna do is probably protect his neck. So I'm gonna capitalize on where his arm placement is, and I'm going to attack the top arm. My cross-side hand comes to his wrist, my near side hand comes to his elbow, and I use my whole upper body to push his arm to the floor. Now I have his arm at a good 90-degree angle. My hand that's trapping his wrist, that same elbow is pushing into the side of his face. I'm making him uncomfortable. The hand that's on his elbow is going to come to the floor and crawl underneath. And I grab my own wrist with my monkey grip. So I'm not using my thumbs are attached to my pointers. My chest is down. I bring my head down. I pull his arm downwards. At the same time, the top of my forearm is lifting up onto his elbow. I pull down, I push up, and I get the tap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions on either of the techniques that we showed today, as always, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if there's any other techniques that you would like to see. Also leave a comment and let me know. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And until the next video, I will see you guys next time.